We are live. It is Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. It's about 3 p.m. It's the Across the Pondcast, the best podcast you've never heard of. Got me, Sam, got Matt, and we have Ben, lover of tech. He's decided to join us today, an honored guest. So welcome to the show, sir. We're glad you could join us.
Yes. Thank you for having me. What's up, guys? Hello.
We're doing good here. It's I've actually not had to use my light because there's enough sunlight coming in, so you can actually see me, which is I have a voice for radio, so maybe that's not always the greatest thing in the world. But we're so glad you could take time out of your schedule. I know you're busy with creating content and kind of being in the hustle, and so we're glad to have you. And also, we're also glad we have our first creator from the UK on the show.
Yay,
so we're excited. We took care of that. So we're also excited about that. Matt is as well. He's doing our sharing right now, so he's in the middle of the tweeting.
I am super excited that we've got a UK creator on it.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm really honored to be the first one to be here, man. For real.
Cool. So we are asking, and I said I was listening to your content, and so how are things going? How are you feeling about your show, about your channel, about your content? Like, how are you generally feeling overall about how it's going?
I feel like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2 when he landed at the expo. When he landed at the expo and the suit came off and he was like, "Oh, it's good to be back." That's literally me right now, man. It feels good to be back making content that I love and, adapting, growing it, improving it, and just being more consistent where people can really see like, yo, like I'm passionate about it, man. So that's the best way I describe it, man. The channel's going through like a resuscitation CPR phase where I'm just trying to like bring it back to life. So, just making sure that YouTube just realizes that, hey, yes, I was away for maybe like 5-6 months or had a break and whatnot, but I'm back. So just try and recommend my stuff, man. This is what I want to be putting out there, my classic stuff, my new stuff, especially with like the camera content that I'm putting out there. I'm really enjoying incorporating that into the Lover of Tech channel. So yeah, that's the best way I can describe it, man. I feel like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, just good to be back.
That's the best description ever, man. I love that. That's great. That's absolutely brilliant.
And you're going to have to deal with that, the YouTube SEO and kind of getting back, because I know that they track like how many. Yeah, I know it's going to be an uphill battle, but I actually, Matt turned me on to your content and I started watching it and I've been pretty religious about it. Like I said, I've been really impressed. I watch other content creators and seeing how they grow and how they, and I didn't know you had a break, because that's what I was going to ask you about more about, like, how did this all start? I guess the original, this is the version 2 of the Lover of Tech at the resuscitation part. So how did this all get started? Like, what do you do? And then how did that all start? And what was your reason for starting the Lover of Tech channel?
So, I mean, it's been, as of 27th of July, it's been exactly 4 years. So 4 years has gone quick. It definitely doesn't feel like 4 years since I uploaded my first video, which was on the Sony Xperia X. That was my first review, all shot on an iPhone 6s Plus. That's where it all started, Genesis, as I like to call it. And it should have started sooner. I just really, really dragged my feet, man. And it was guys like Super Saf, definitely guys like Marquez from back in the day when I was watching them, especially from university times. Like, I was in University of Hertfordshire from like 2008 to 2011. And that's when YouTube first had HD. And I remember that's when Virgin first launched 50 megabits per second download for fiber. So it's like, that's when I was really like on watching YouTube a lot, and these guys were upcoming, and I just dragged my feet all the way up until then. So it's like, the saying that goes that never late is better, but better late than never and all of that. So just went with it. And it was more just because I just had a genuine natural inclination to tech. I loved talking about tech. But the problem is, when you're the cool guy nerd that talks about tech, you usually don't really have anyone else around you that you can like bounce, just not even ideas, just conversation. Forget ideas, just conversation in an in-depth, nerdy way where you can enjoy it. I had that for gaming, because most of us are in gaming one way or another, right? If it's FIFA, if it's Madden, there's always a common ground with guys in gaming. But when it comes to actual tech, not really, like on the nerdy level. So it would always frustrate me because I'm thinking like, I need this to be an outlet. You know, it's therapeutic to talk about it. It makes me happy. I get excited. And then that's what YouTube was for. You know, it's that's in the name. You know, you bring the you into the tube. Just be yourself, that you. So that was just my chance to be like, yo, I just got to start. And I always say the beginning's the hardest. It's the hardest part to start. But once you start, it gets easier in the sense that although there is still challenges that come later on, it's, you know, the snowball effect happens. You know, you get more confident. You find out your style of making content. You find out your style of content that you want to talk about, things that you want to react to, things that you don't want to react to, things that you enjoy making, things that you like sharing. That self-discovery it's refreshing, and you're learning every single day, every single time that you upload and you create. So that was what started. And you know, the whole Lover of Tech name came from, it was just an accident where like my friends would be like, damn bro, you love tech. You know, when people just, when they hear you talk and it's like you're not even, that's just, you genuinely love tech. And I was like, okay, that kind of rings to it, you know, Lover of Tech. And I just search, and I'm like, no one else is called Lover of Tech. Boy, I'm gonna take that and run with it. So
it's a good name. It's definitely a good name. But like, you are right. Everybody you try and talk to about tech, they sort of nod. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just gonna. But like you see people all the time, and the phones they've got and everything else, they're not interested. They don't care what it is. As long as it calls, texts, they're not bothered. But it's nice to have stuff like your channel. It's like for us to have something like this, to be able to have that chat. Because it's refreshing. Because gaming, I could talk to my friends all day long. Gaming, whatever, Call of Duty, whatever you're on, everybody's talking about it. But tech, no, nothing at all. And it's nice to see that it's not just me.
Yeah, that's the reason. You're just thinking like that you get exposed to more like-minded people. And there's a lot of you out there, but you're just more spread out than the rest.
That's it, yeah.
So, you know, compared to like your sports, compared to gaming, you know, there was a lot of people that are into tech, but we're just spread out. That's the problem.
Vastly spread out.
Yeah,
definitely vastly spread out. I like your channel, for instance. Like you've got all, now you're back into it and you're diving straight back in.
Yeah.
What do you want from the future? Are you like aiming to get to a certain number, or?
Oh yeah. It's not even about the number. It's about sustainability. So people call. I said this on Viper's live stream, but people call me Lover of Tech, which is fine. Like I take that, but I'm not Lover of Tech as a person. So if you ever listen to any of my videos, I always say Ben from Lover of Tech. The reason why is Lover of Tech is a platform and a brand that I want to in the future to be a place where people can join and be a part of. You could be a social media person, you could be a presenter like me, you could be an editor, you could be a producer, you could be a director of photography. Whoever you are, just being part of that Lover of Tech brand means that you are like-minded and you love tech as much as I do, but in your own unique way. It's all about bringing your own uniqueness to love in tech. So my uniqueness to love in tech is bringing enthusiasm to tech. That's why when you see me,
that definitely,
it's got to resonate, and that's not something that I'm faking. It's just, that's just me, you know. So my motto is bringing enthusiasm to tech. If there was ever someone else that came into Lover of Tech and they wanted to bring their own vibe, it could be, you know, I don't know. It could be like bringing structure to tech. I don't know where it is, right? So not exactly like Linus Tech Tips, but in a sense that it is the channel and the brand is not about one person. It's about what it stands for. You see, so people will call their channel X their name, but mine is all about Lover of Tech is beyond me. And if I was to ever go, which obviously all of us would do at a point in time, but it's like it still grows to be more than who I am. I will be Genesis, I'll be the beginning, but it can be anyone that comes in it. So yes, the number that it grows into has a perception of success. Definitely, you know, your subscriber count has a perception of success up to a certain point. And I say up to a certain
of course it
point
does, yeah.
because YouTube is such a big pool that I've seen smaller channels that make more money than much bigger channels because they've been much more smarter with, you know, their structure, their perception, their business model. So up to a certain point, your numbers don't really matter. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my end goal, you know, that's my end goal.
And I appreciate that because, like you say, having a community of people, not just a name, it makes for a better experience for you and it makes you love it more. Yeah. And it makes the people that follow you like more involved because it's like talking to a human, not a person who's doing this because they have to do this or because these numbers matter more than these numbers.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense. And I appreciate that kind of thought. Like it's something different. And I like that. And I think Sam's lost at the minute.
No.
We've lost. What's happened is we've lost the Twitch chat in the StreamYard. So we can't see the Twitch chat. Like the Twitch chat's the most active. The YouTube chat's not.
It's literally living by the name. It's twitching out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's everybody in the Twitch chat moved to YouTube because I can't see the Twitch channels.
And I think I figured out. So what happened was my Twitch stream was my name, and so we changed to the show. So I changed the official name, but the problem is I didn't go into StreamYard and update the link. So it's linking back to Sam34, but it's not. Yeah, so I'm trying to test it. I'm trying to send a message, and I keep getting an error. So you can't break it midstream. So unfortunately, anybody who's listening, if you're listening and you're on Twitch, if you can see the show on Twitch, which you probably can't now, because I think it's broken too. So I think we're, as they would say over in the UK, proper fucked. That's the word proper.
Yeah. And Juan's in the chat, right? It says it's now his time to shine. They can't see me trolling here. I can still see you. I got the Twitch chat up on here. The ROG2 has got the flipping Twitch chat on. And
okay, so I'm gonna see if I can.
I've still got this in case you. Well, it's upside down. In case you start trolling.
Okay, I see activity feed. Okay, well maybe I can. Okay, I can see.
Oh,
okay.
By the way, this is the first time, obviously, because I only picked it up today. The Realme X2 Pro. That's what I'm using to stream this, and it has a headphone jack. So.
That's good. Speaking of that, Realme just sent me the X55G, so you're gonna be seeing content on that, man.
Oh
yeah, that's cool. And Realme doesn't come to the United States, so you have to gray market it or import it or swap it. So that is something I don't have a lot of experience with. I've seen the Realme phones; they look really good, and I've had some Xiaomi before and some Huawei phones, but the Realme looks really nice. I liked what Matt showed me, and I see the X55G. I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Like we were talking about earlier, and this is part of your other rant, where like that's never going to come to a carrier, right? Realme, Oppo, all these other you're not going to go. You're going to go to AT&T, and you're going to go to Verizon, and you're going to buy the Samsung or the Apple or the now OnePlus, right? And so you're running into that problem where you have all these manufacturers. Like I used to have a Mi Mix 3, so I had the slider phone, and I used to go into places and just slide the phone up at work, and people were like, what kind of phone is that? I said, it's a Xiaomi Mi Mix. And they're like, a what, and a how? I go, yeah, there are other phones other than Samsung, LG, Moto, and Apple. There are. I know it's crazy, right? There's Huawei. And it's funny because,
not anymore.
Well,
not in the US.
Well, here's the funny thing. Nobody knew about Huawei before the ban. They only know of Huawei now because of the ban. Now it's like, now we can't get the phone.
And now one can't get one.
Right.
Yeah, it's a trip. You see, I'll give an overall consensus behind that. That was not coming out of thin air. My majority of my working history is in telecoms and sales. I was that agent, like Agent Smith. I was that agent that had to, be in front of you like the Matrix and give you the deal that I wanted to give you for what phone that was going to make me the most money based on what my carriers have given me to sell in my store on my tariff and my price plans. So that's from 2012 to 2014 in Phones for You before they went into administration.
Oh, Phones for You.
Yeah. And then Vodafone as well as EE. So I've worked I've worked with the top carriers as well as the top third-party retailers that actually sell on behalf of these carriers. So I know frontline, not frontline perception, actual frontline buying behavior. I'll put it this way. I went into store to get a SIM replacement because one of my spare SIM cards, you know, my sister lives in Canada, she comes over. So I always keep a spare SIM card just to save them time. So when they land at the airport, they've got a UK SIM that they can use. And I misplaced it, went in there. There was a lady buying a Samsung Galaxy A31 on contract, and that phone was too expensive for her. And I'm like, my mind was like, lady, that's an A31. You should be able to just buy that cash outright. No, she's got kids. There's 4 kids next to her. Even that cheap A31 phone for 150 or 200 is too much money up front that she could be spending elsewhere. So the buying behavior is based on a monthly contract that is convenient for the down payment that she doesn't have to pay, and either the same monthly cost or cheaper sometimes based on what deals and promotions the carriers are running. Right. So the initial genesis of that frustration came from a tweet from Max Weinbach, because this is not against him, but this is the problem of being in your reviewer bubble. One, before we get onto OEMs and carrier behavior, because again, as you guys probably knew or didn't know, I used to work for OnePlus UK as well. You know, Friday that just went was my official last day. I was on furlough for like a good couple of months, but I'm no longer employed by OnePlus. So I've got a unique track record of working for both carriers, retailers, and directly with OEMs. Right. So before OnePlus, I was working for Samsung Mobile.
Right. So that gives you a unique perspective that I don't think a lot of people in the space bring, because you are on the trenches, front line, dealing with all those dynamics and all those real world things that I think that you can talk power to. Like a lot of people just say they think about it theoretically or what they've heard anecdotally, but you actually I saw the thing about OnePlus that you're leaving OnePlus. So I was like, I knew about that. I wasn't aware of the Samsung thing.
So it's not coming. This is where discussions like this I love, because it can really be stretched out beyond just the video, right? Because you want the video to hit a certain nail and a certain nerve in a certain way to add that drama. But conversations like this can really add a bit more context. So me doing that video, it's not coming out of, hey, I'm bored, let me just shout in front of the camera to make myself seem exciting and clickbaity. No, I'm coming from years. We're talking about 8 years of telecoms experience, frontline to mid. I wouldn't even say top, mid, where I'm touching top line people in how decisions are made about what gets put where, what gets spent where, from marketing to training, you know. So that initial frustration was first directed at reviewers that recommend products without adding a bit of context based on their demographic and availability. Right. That thing frustrates me, because what happens is people will land on those videos, rightfully so. You do a great job, you get them excited, they go into their carrier's not on, like they don't have that phone. And I used to battle customers that I had to fight because they were upset with me, not the network, but me in front of them, that I couldn't give them the phone that they saw on the internet that they were giving 5 stars to, saying that it's the best phone of the year. Right. Wouldn't the best phone of the year be on the best carrier or the biggest network in the UK? And when they ask you that, you look dumb, like, well, yeah, I guess, but we don't sell it. Well, then it must not be best. Then what's the phone that you sell? Because I'm seeing Samsung everywhere. How come Samsung's not getting the best phone of the year if everyone's selling it, but this phone is? And then you're stuck in this limbo of like, the customer's not actually asking dumb questions. These are valid questions, and it doesn't look good that it's not on their carrier. So the context is down to the people that are recommending it, first. Second, it's down to networks as well. Carriers are ruthless. And let me tell you this, carriers are ruthless in terms of, you know, bulk buying and how can I put it? Like what's the term for it? Basically, like total units that they want matched to the tariff and the profits that they make and the margins, right? They are ruthless. They can be ruthless if you're not a brand like Apple or Samsung, where it's in their best interest to stock your products, right? So the way they behave in itself, it's so like ruthless that's another thing. But another thing that I have a problem with is that as prices for these smartphones and these devices are going so high, right? OEMs seem to think that they're justified that because we can spec for spec match what the competition are doing, it's enough for us to charge the same phone. No, it's really not. Those and again, those premium brands like your Apples and your Samsungs that are charging those premium phones, which we already critique that, come on, man, that's a lot. They've got a lot of overhead. This is coming from OEM experience now, right? Working for two major OEMs. Well, one major one and one kind of smaller mid-sized one. That the overheads that they have from retail to service, right? Marketing, it's so much that honestly, not making excuses for them, how would they sustain their business if they weren't charging enough of a markup to pay all these people that are working for them on the front line? Some necessary, some a bit more unnecessary, some niche. So we can always debate that. That's a discussion for another day, right? How do you expect them to actually make up or give you that level of service without making that markup? It's impossible. You know, it's not a sustainable business model. You see, so when certain brands are trying to emulate that, I get the emulation of trying to make yourself look as premium, but then what happens is your customers buy into that, maybe switching from a solid premium brand that they've had, and then they realize that something happens in the aftercare, and the aftercare is nowhere near as good.
Right. Service after the sale, right? And it's always what it's about.
Yep. And I see way too often where it's like the customer that starts complaining about, hey, I don't know why this phone costs that much. Let's just say a high-end Samsung or an Apple phone. You know, in the UK, Apple and Samsung basically have a lot of retail stores, still more Apple, where near enough, most things with your phone, if you book an appointment that day, you get an appointment or you walk in very early, that issue can be fixed that day. If it can't be fixed that day, I promise you, by next day or the day after is done. Right. That level of turnover and convenience, you're not getting it from your OnePluses. You're not getting it from other brands that could not offer that. That should, for the price that they're charging, but cannot offer that. You see, that in itself is an invaluable cost to the device and a brand that you've bought yourself into.
Right.
You know,
that's weird. You know, my neck of the woods, I haven't seen anywhere an Apple or a Samsung store.
Really?
Anywhere in the Midlands. I've not seen one anywhere. Anywhere I've been up this side of the country, never seen an Apple or Samsung store.
You might have to go to Birmingham and go to the Bullring.
I was going to say, that probably might be closest if there is one there, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be your closest still. So I hope that gives a little bit more context as to why that video came about the way it came about, you know, because I just don't think anyone, and I said it, that across the board, us reviewers need to just be a bit more accountable, that when we're recommending a product based on our demographic, you know, let's do a bit more to say availability. We don't have to go into the tariff and pricing. And pricing with these carriers change all the time. That's not our job. That's not our responsibility. But in terms of say, hey, I'm recommending this product, but just be warned, it's available here, here, and here. If it's not on your carrier, be prepared to pony up a lot of upfront money. What might be easier is if you're trading your phone on Mazuma or here to offset the price. And if you don't mind, I highly recommend that you do. What that will probably do in the end, if you can swallow the initial upfront pill, is that your monthly will go down. You can call your carrier, go down to just a tariff only or SIM only, and you're good to go. But you say that so that they're a bit more clear, as in, oh, okay, I need to consider availability. Oh, it's on my network. Oh, great. Call them or walk into store. Man, thank you. You know, it helps.
Does. The problem with some carriers in the UK is the upfront cost sometimes doesn't outweigh the difference between your monthly payments. Like you can be paying £350 up front, but you're still paying £60 a month. Yeah. Depending on what phone you go for. But it's hard. It is hard sometimes.
And then Vesicos makes a good point here, not just about what everything that Ben said, which is spot on. And I think, you know, we have to think about it. You know, we understand that it's that knee-jerk reaction, like, wow, it's $1,000, and what the hell am I buying? I said, well, it depends on what you're buying. If you're buying a Toyota Corolla, or are you buying a high-end sports car? Like, are you going to a really nice place and you're spending $100,000 of your hard-earned money to buy a car that does the same thing your $20,000 car does, right? Essentially, at its core, you expect a level of service. You walk into that dealership and you expect a bottle of water and a person in a suit walking up to you and saying, "Sir, hey, here's the thing. Here's a hot towel," right? You expect that level of service. And I think with phones, I think as we get better into this, I think it's going to start to become more of an expectation is the customers need to be, they aren't coming into the store knowing the lay of the land. That's your job as Ben used to do. Like he's like, here's what's going on. Here's the whole thing. That phone, yeah. And of course, you're the front line. So of course, who's going to catch it on the chin? It's going to be the agent standing in front of you. Like when I get phone calls and they're mad about something about where I work, they're mad at the application. They're only talking to me. So that frustration I become the lightning rod for that ventilation of frustration, which is fine. And then
this is why I like brands like Realme and Pocket. This is why they're so important, because for the price of the Realme, like for £350, I got this Realme X2 Pro, 855 plus, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes. Like what? 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 90 hertz refresh rate. It's a flagship phone.
65 watt charging as well. Don't forget that.
Yeah. I think this one's a 50 watt.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
X50. Yeah, this one. Damn it! I've got only 50 watt charging. How dare they? No, but that's what my point. For £350, I got this, and it's like this exact phone. Put the Samsung Apple name on the back, £1,200 instantly.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
And that's going to make the point. Remember, when you're buying a phone, you also have to think about requisite carrier support, but also about accessories. Can I buy a case for this? Are those cases readily available? Not everybody understands.
Weirdly enough, Realme on Amazon. Oh no, Amazon Realme have got quite a strong presence on Amazon UK.
I understand that.
I was quite surprised when I looked earlier.
Right, but the thing is, remember, when they go to the carrier store, that's another thing the carriers like to do. Hey, by the way, you bought this X phone. Here's the X set of cases for X phone at $45.
Yeah, I will say one thing: the carrier stores, the network stores in the UK, they do sell accessories, but I wouldn't recommend them.
They're cheap. They're not cheap.
They're not cheap, and they do them for really strange phones sometimes. They have the high-end phones, but then there's phones there that you would never expect to see. But they're all like £19.99, and it's one of them screen protectors that just sticks around the black edge. It doesn't actually stick, and no, I would never recommend getting them from a carrier store.
Yeah, so there's always challenges. So I'm glad that there's somebody like Ben out there who really kind of talks about how many of these components are there, because I think once you have the understanding contextually of the argument that's being made, it makes the argument more effective. Then you can say, hey, then things that what Max Weinbach would say have more context, and then you can dissect them and have more just on par disagreements or discussions about levels of what phone works for you. And also it becomes a nuance. Then it becomes, why are people buying the phones they buy? Because they are having different needs, and you have to service those needs: price, availability, build quality. And
people don't listen to their friends.
Well, no.
Like people like us, we're tech people. No, but we're tech people, right? So if you're going to buy a phone and you've got a friend like one of us, you'd usually you'd say, what would you recommend? And I'd be like, well, what are your needs? What do you need your phone for? Like, I'd never say, yep, you got to go and get that Samsung S20 Ultra. Don't get the Plus, get the Ultra. You need the Ultra with its weird camera focusing issues. But you don't, but they don't listen. They always go to the store and then let their agent talk them into something that they didn't want. Yeah, even though we've said, no, to be fair, a Pixel 4a, perfect for exactly what you need your phone for. They get to the carrier store and end up leaving with a iPhone 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a good discussion. So I'm glad that Ben talks to that, because I think that conversation is lacking, because he has experience in the field, which is I'm glad he's there to do that, because more information, the better, more decisions, the better, more customer choice, the better. We all benefit from that.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
Customer choice is the best thing. Like we could do with the LG Velvet. I'm being honest.
LG is in a transformative transitioning phase, which I'm happy about. I hope like what OnePlus are doing with Nord LG get the same effect with Velvet in their own unique way. I think that's what they're both doing, and I hope it, because I really have a soft spot for LG. I really do. And
you're in the right place. Let me tell you about.
Yeah, you're within the good people. We are LG fans for sure.
Yeah,
most of us.
we've got some hashtag shill guy, LG shill guy in the chat, so we're all right.
Yeah,
I'm in both the Twitch. I managed to sign into my Twitch account, so I'm in both the Twitch chat. As
well
good
deal. Appreciate it. Yeah, because like I said, that was me dropping the ball on that. But yeah, and then and Ronald says he drove a friend to buying the LG Velvet because Juan's video, but also just talking about. And I had a friend at work that he saw my.
Let's not forget about the stylo.
Yeah,
like the stylus. What is it? The Stylus 6 now, isn't it? That's the one that Juan's got. That's not a phone to just shy over either. I mean, yes, it's £150 phone, but look at what it does. That's good phone for a lot of people, but a lot of people will go, "Oh, it's £150. It's cheap. It's not going to be good."
Well, I think
price doesn't balance with performance anymore.
Right. Well, also
not even close.
Well, then also talk about with Ben with the mother of four, right, where she has a very targeted price point. She can't afford because she needs to buy food, right? So the communication aspect and that is a lot more of a more specific attack. So she has to be able to. I don't have that kind of quid, mate. So I gotta move.
Yeah, but that's just it. She doesn't have that kind of money for a £150 phone,
right?
But they capture her, so then they've got her in that contract. Right. Even if it's only £8 a month, they've got her in a contract.
Right.
And then going forward, they can try and upgrade her as she goes along.
So, and I guess the question to Ben is, so we always ask, we actually, we got so busy with talking about and being so involved in Ben's discussion, we forgot the T-shirt check.
I was just about to say, you're going to do the T-shirt check.
I know, I forgot all that.
This is an audio podcast.
I'm going to do it because it's stupid and it's shticky and it makes no sense. And I'm going to keep doing it.
It's our thing.
We don't have a thing.
Visualization.
There you go. So today, because of the fact that I think there's some playoffs going on in football in the UK, I don't know if there is or not. I wore the only soccer jersey, football
completely the wrong
jersey,
one, but still.
Whatever. That's all I had. What do you want me to do? You sent me over a Man United one. I'll rock it, right?
I won't buy a Man United one. Ben's the Man United fan,
right.
Not me.
And here's the problem: is that's probably the only one in the United States that anybody would even have any chance of knowing. Probably.
If I sent you a Derby County shirt and you wore it, no one would have a fucking clue.
That's okay. That's okay because that's fine. I'm okay
small
with
time.
Yeah. So Man United. Well, actually, it's funny. Is Man United one of those teams like it's. They used to be they were like kick was when it had a specific manager, right? This guy was like Sir Isaac Newton or whoever the guy was. Alex.
We got a Man United hater in the chat. Man U, the Samsung of football.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I thought they were for like a long time. When Sir Alex was running it, they were like crushing everybody, and then I guess he transitioned out. And then are they still like destroying everybody? Are they kind of like?
They couldn't even beat us. I'm just saying.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so that way. I'm glad. I'm glad that changes because it's like they're the New England Patriots of soccer. That's awesome.
He called it soccer. Oh, I'm still against that.
I know. Don't even get me started. I'm just glad you're here.
Bad.
And I know it rubs. It's like fingers on a cheeseburger, right? It says it hurts to hear it, but it's what else can we do? That's how we know it.
Call it football.
But
that's what it's called around the world.
And which is funny because Ben said, and I caught this in our pre-chat, he actually played American football as a defensive back. So how did that all work? Like, was that through school? Was it a club? How did that? I'm curious. That just fascinates me. So how did that all? That
is pretty interesting. To be fair,
how did that come about?
So I went University of Hertfordshire, and I played as a free safety rather than a strong safety.
Cool.
And I played as a cornerback as well. So it came about because one of my friends actually it was final year of uni. Well, correction, second year of uni. He played first year. I didn't. So second year, we were living together. And he basically said, yo, like we've got tryouts. Why don't you come? And I was like, nah, come. So he just called me out. And you know how boys are, man. At that age, 18,
What?
19, 20. You're just there's just too much ego for you to like be called out. You know, all you guys are you're athletic, you're young, you're doing your thing. So I said, I'll come. So came to the tryout, and then first night on the tryout, literally like caught a pick six, and it was it. Like coach was like, yo, you caught a pick six on your first try on one of our quarterbacks. All right, you might as well come and just play defense then. So from there, man, it was just like a case of like, yo, tried it, aced it, enjoyed it, and it's just one of the sports that I added to my list that I could play. So yeah, man, that's how it came about. University of Hertfordshire Hurricanes.
There you go. So that's cool. So the funny thing is, you mentioned free safety, strong safety, and a pick six, and Matt has no clue what the hell you're talking about. And I'm like,
hey, I don't follow American football. I've never played it. I've watched a few games. You know when they come to and play at Wembley and stuff, and they stream it on like BBC One.
Yeah,
like they don't like. I've never gone out of my way to try and find a streaming platform to watch it.
Yeah,
I watch it when it's on TV because it is entertaining, but it's not. Yeah. I've never gone out of my way to learn everything like I have with football.
So what he's talking about with the pick six is he's talking about being a defensive player, and the quarterback throws a pass to either in a flat or a slot, and he stepped in front of it, intercepts the ball, catches it instead of the receiver, and then not only catches the ball, but it actually runs it all the way back to the other end of the field for a touchdown, and that's 6 points.
I've still got we lost the Birmingham Lions, but I've still got one of my in-game. We lost by 2 points, and I've got my in-game tape of catching probably the most crucial pick six for the game. Like we were on the back heel, we scored a touchdown, and then we were back on defense, and then 2 plays in, literally just like put a pick six. The game just changed, man. It changed completely. I still have that tape, man. I'll play it to you guys.
Oh man, if you post it on YouTube, I would be in to watch that thing.
I'll upload that for old school sake, man.
No, that's awesome.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. So he's a little bit more of the hand egg. See,
hand egg. I'm telling you, you play it with your hands. Occasionally, you kick it with your foot, fine, but you play it with your hands.
Oh, yeah, God. and then Goran. No, it's not. It's caveman. No, it's. I'm trying to. We have UK creator on as a guest. We have a UK guy, and I'm trying to show some love. Now this is.
So you're wearing an Ireland t-shirt.
Well, do me a favor. Go in your closet and find an American football jersey. I don't give a shit. Whatever one you got.
I will allow him.
I guess Ben has one. I'm sure.
There is a rugby team. As the London Irish, there is the London Irish rugby team, so I'll excuse it and give it a pass.
Right.
There is a London Irish rugby team. We'll let that pass and we'll let that slide.
So, and I guess my question: so, did now?
At least he picked the right Irish shirt. Let's just.
Okay, I don't know. It's old actually. I got it from my ex-father bought this in Ireland. So, anyway. You were exposed to American football. Were you ever exposed to any other sports like baseball, basketball? I know hockey in the
baseball. You mean rounders? Yeah.
Yeah, round for us round. So.
Sorry, Sam, but I'm taking advantage of having a UK with us. I swear to God.
Well, I'm glad. Finally, it's about time.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to just be a type of person that could play any sport for whatever reason. I just could. So. Football, basketball, rugby, American football, athletics. I pretty much ran all the track events. We're talking about 100 meters, relay, 200, 400, 800, high jump, long jump, triple jump. Like I was basically a heptathlon. I could do all sports.
Right.
Cricket, 100%. I used to love playing cricket back in the day. As well as rounders. The secondary school, well, we call it secondary school, but it's high school for you guys. But
secondary school, yeah,
the secondary school I went to was a sports college, so we were exposed to a lot more equipment. So whether it was rock climbing, it was softball for us. We didn't get to play baseball, but it was softball, so it was pretty much near enough the same. So got exposed to that, which was great. Javelin, and then as of recently during lockdown. I took it upon myself to like start a new fitness challenge, and my thing was like, what's a fitness challenge that I've not added to my list. And distance running was something I'd never really done. I'd grown up in school, like you know, Matt, like cross country, the punishment of all punishments. We all get put through that. It's like,
yes,
it's like
that is horrible.
It's horrible, right? And then it was horrible, but it's like I could do it because I was naturally fit, especially playing football a lot. You know, you had the aerobic fitness to some capacity, but it was torture nonetheless. Made no difference. You still wanted to, you hated it when it came to that time of year where it's like, hey, cross country. I'm like, only the skinny long distance guys are going to enjoy this. Us lot are going to be breathing like it's the end of our lives, you know? So
it's so accurate.
it's the worst. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna try distance running. I'm not necessarily built for it, but let me give it a try. And as of Thursday that just went by, I clocked my first half marathon. So
to say you've been running some distances you have recently.
Yeah,
you've been seeing your map sharing. It's I would run about 0.1% of that and be fucked.
Well, I could have run the distances because I've run distances before like that, and but it's my knee. I can't run anymore. I have this really bad degenerative knee.
Old man problems.
So I could, and I'm gonna try to start, but I've got but yeah, once you get to that, then you've got marathon.
Well, you used to be a cop, so you had to run.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where I had to run, there were always the funniest things about like my first night on like actual duty was my first foot pursuit, and it was the stupidest thing in the world. I'll tell this quick story because my cop stories are stupid anyway. But so he's running, so we're talking right, and he's in front of me, and we're on a traffic stop, and he's drunk, so he's gonna go to jail, and I already know it. So he looks at me, and I can always tell there's that one moment where you know it's gonna happen. You're like, this guy's gonna run. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and instead of turning around and running away from me, he ran past me. I was like, "What the fuck is it?" Does this guy realize I could just tripped him? Like it was funny that we were saying like 10 feet away, and he closed so quickly, but he passed me. I could have just tripped him. But I'm like, I saw him run. I go, is he actually going to run past me? I'm like, I'm going to catch this guy for sure. So I just turned around, and of course I spear tackled him and took him to jail. But it was like the most stupid foot pursuit ever. It's like, who the hell runs towards the cop and runs past? I'm like, hey, see you, dude, and runs that way. Why would you turn and run away from me? And so at least there's that distance, and I have to close on it. Running with all that vest and a gun and gear and shit and whatever.
No, fuck that. Honestly, I don't run. I'm not built for running. Although technically I'm 6'5", so you'd think I'd be built for running, but I'm 16 stone, so no, I'm not built for running. I'm built for lifting. But if you ever see me running,
is that fat? Run. Does that mean fat? Is that 16 stone a fat guy?
No. So, but if you ever see me running, run. I'm just gonna say that because if I'm running, there's something chasing me.
Yeah,
that's it. But no, I don't run. I lift, and I very, very rarely jog.
And the thing is, like I'm with Matt. Like I'm exactly 6 foot, like in terms of measurement. And I mean, doing sports and a lot of medicals from before, like you get measured regularly, so I know exactly 6 foot. And as of the beginning of June, I was actually 101 kilograms, which is what 15.9 stones. So pretty much 16 stones. So most people that looked at me is like, you look in shape, because obviously your height to body proportion. I looked in shape, but there's looking in shape and knowing that you're in shape.
Right. With endurance. Yeah. It's not visible.
It's especially knowing how you were before to how you are now. Like 8-9 years goes by, life happens and you forget yourself and whatnot. Right. So that was a thing of like, this is a challenge more because I'm not built like a distance runner. So this is where the challenge is going to be of doing this, you know. And it's been when I say it's been overwhelming, as much as people are impressed, a lot of people have just been basically saying like, the time you did the half marathon, you must have been riding a bike. There's no way that
wow.
Honestly, it's like a backhanded compliment. I'm like, what do you mean? And it's like, dude, I've been running for like years. You're running faster than me. You've never done distance running. You've not trained or done any training for like a good almost 8-9 years. And then you clocked half marathon in an hour, 58 minutes at that pace. What were you doing? I'm like, I was running for my life. You know, So it's been encouraging that, like, man, just the human body itself.
Mhm.
If you just set your mind to it, it sounds so cliche because you hear it all the time, but it's like, you know, if you actually just focus on it, man, there's some things that your body can adapt to that, man, you'll be even surprised.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it though. The problem is with most people like me is getting your mind set on doing that. Like you can do it and you know you can do it, but it's that you're thinking about it and you go, I'll do it tomorrow. Or I'll start next week. I'll make it my New Year's resolution. Right, there we go. But then that never happens.
So Simon says, is your last name Johnson? So that's in reference to the runner. And then Trent Marshall's Trent's in the chat. Hey, Trent, how you doing,
Ben,
sir?
run.
Run, Ben, run.
Trenton is just...
he is awesome. He's on the show. We had him on the show, and he is just calm and thoughtful and everything that I'm not. He's like he's a normal, quiet, like very thoughtful kind of guy, and I'm like an insane, crazy person. So it's funny.
Really?
But actually,
do you know what? I never noticed.
Never noticed.
Yeah, well, you know.
Never known.
I will tell you that, and to Ben's point, he's right. There's a book, and there's a guy named David Goggins, and I don't know if Ben knows about this guy. He was a former Navy SEAL, went to Ranger School, and he wrote a book called "Can't Hurt Me." And if you have a moment, you want to talk about the ability for somebody to pull themselves up and be in a bad place physically and mentally, and accomplish everything just by sheer force of will. And just by knowing that your own mind is the thing you have to beat. It's like, I don't want to run today. It's running when you don't want to. It's doing the training when you don't, and you realize that your mind limits your ability, that you can completely do anything you really want to physically if you're able to just get past your own mind talking you out of doing it. You'd be surprised. Even if you have a physical or disability. I mean, there's people who are able to run with a missing leg. I mean, there you've seen to read that book, it's a fantastic book. Audio book, check it out. It's an awesome book, and it's super motivational. And he talks about not being motivated. He talks about being obsessive. Like, you have to, basically, this is all you want to do. You have to focus your mind and channel and get past the I can't do this to I can do this. And yeah, Jocko Willink's another one. He's another guy too. Those are the same kind of guys, but former special operations guys who talk about motivation, and Goggins is really, really good. If you ever get a chance to, he exactly talks about what Ben just described, which is you can do it.
It is true.
It
is true. I mean, motivation is the main thing, because even if you get yourself motivated enough to do it, that first time you do it can also be a turning point. Because if you do it for the first time and you're just there going, oh my God, no, I'm not doing that again. You've got to get past the first few times of doing training or any sort of endurance training. Then your body starts to catch up. But it's all about the motivation to get from sitting on the sofa to thinking about doing it to doing it and then committing to it once you've started.
Yeah, 100% true. 100% true.
Are you looking to do a full marathon, or are we going to go like crazy? We're going ultra 100-mile marathon kind of
stuff. We're
going
to see you in the London Marathon in a few years.
I think for myself personally, I would like to lose a bit more weight, because I did sports and exercise science. So there's a and it's just normal power to weight ratio. Like, you hear that for cars, but it's on the human body as well. Right. And we went to Costco and we bought like a 15-kilo flour bag, like of flour. And when I was carrying it, I was like, I was carrying this much excess weight on me. I've lost all of that. And I can't believe this was actually distributed in all my body. I'm carrying this. And I'm like, damn, that's taking more work. But you don't realize how much extra power you need to generate to go either faster or use less energy to run at the same pace if you're heavier. So I would like to lose a bit more weight before I can consider, because there's an element of, like, you know, energy to distance that I can run that I've capped at for now, that I need to maintain to get my body and my, you know, my breathing to get used to that before I can push further, which I know I can do. So the main objective, and I say this like just briefly, me choosing to actually use exercise as running, because I could have copped out and just done the usual workouts and whatnot, because I know I'm built for that, right? And just done all my anaerobic sports. But It was more of a, I need a challenge. And it was kind of like a flight or fight response to just the situation of what was happening, you know, lockdown happening, the stress of it, other stuff, being put on furlough where you can work, but you're still getting paid and you're in limbo. There's, you know, family issues, so many different things, you know, and it's like your daily routine has now been completely broken. You need to do something with yourself, you know. So I took that on. And the only thing I set myself as a benchmark is that in 2 months, I should be able to run 10K in an hour. That's it. That was the only challenge I set for myself, right? And the silly thing I did is I underestimated how much your joints, and I recommend anyone that is considering running, you may think it's just running, but there's a skill that goes into running.
Oh, for sure.
There's a massive skill that goes into running. And what I underestimated is how much your joints take a beating when you're running. Right. And I didn't get the right running shoe. I didn't even get running shoes, period. I didn't get knee compressors. I didn't get ankle compressors. And I strained my right knee. The first 2 weeks, as my body got used to it, I did about 9K, which I was shocked I was able to do. I strained my right knee and I was devastated because I thought it was going to be worse than what it is. Rested for 2 weeks, came back, you know, and did the right thing. Spent money on shoes. It's like the basic fundamentals.
Right.
And the difference it made to like protecting my joints, protecting my body, making me run more efficient, making me run faster, making me run further. It just it's like week on week, it's like, man, your body, you can just feel your body's just getting stronger. And it's like, this is crazy. Like I'm actually doing, and there'll be some days where you clock certain times and your breathing recovery so quick where you're like, damn, this is like, where's this coming from? You know? And it's one of those things where to have done 10K so quickly within like 2-3 weeks, I was like, well, what else am I going to do with myself now? Because I've done it in less than a month. I've got to just go further. So it was a case of like every week do an extra 2 kilometers further than what you did before. You know, rest 2 days. And when you come back after your rest day, your body should technically be stronger, which I calculated it right. And it was, you go further. And before you knew it, I'm like, damn, I've done 18K as a PB. This is end of July.
Right.
You know, you might as well go for half marathon. And it ended up being a thing of what would be my incentive? Because human beings will live on being incentivized and be motivated to do something. And a year ago, not to bring us out, but a year ago, you know, my cousin that I grew up, because I wasn't born in UK originally. I was born in Ghana. So I came to UK when I was like 8-9 years old, like around 1998. So my cousin, my direct first cousin, you know, I saw him as a bigger brother. He was like a year older than me. He lived in Canada at the time. So last year he passed away. We still don't know the reasons, you know, how and what happened. It was very unfortunate. I didn't get to see him. So it'd been actually on that day where it was exactly a year after his passing. So that was dedicated to him, you know. And if I say the last 6 kilometers was not it was torture. Every fiber in me was like, you just need to stop. And I was like, no, like this is for him, you know, like I'm doing this for him. And there was the last 3 kilometers where I went on a route I didn't know, and I was met with like a 30 elevation. And oh my goodness, I was like, what have you done to yourself? Could you not have found a flat road to run this? You've gone and found the biggest incline. And seriously, people must have been looking at me. I was actually screaming myself up. When I say screaming, I mean, not, oh, come on. I was the lungs in my air that I could have used for breathing, I was using it to scream myself up. Because I'm like, you are not stopping until you see 21.1 km on your Strava before you hit stop.
Right. And that's the whole thing about just pushing through no matter what that motivation is. Yeah. It's, I mean, exactly. You're motivated for that reason, but just when your mind's telling you, you stop here, stop. Physically, you're just gassed. You don't have any more in the tank. You always have one more inch. You have one more inch in there somewhere, even if it's just an inch. Yeah, and and Aditya, like you said,
you can get all your stuff from Sports Direct and just go.
Yeah, there you go. And Aditya,
Ben the Beast. Hey, I can't be the only one wondering this. What did you need all that flour for from Costco?
Oh man, my wife makes it. She bakes well. She bakes really well.
That's not good for a person trying to be a runner and losing weight, because that's a dangerous.
15 kilograms of flour. I'm like, what?
That's a dangerous combination, man. Because especially if you have a wife that can bake.
Man, she bakes good, and the cost is just like high quality and it's low. It's like, damn, this is like 2 years supplies worth of flour. We don't have to hot the flour no more.
We're good. So, we're good for the next, like, COVID. If there's another one of those, we could do all that too. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we're good.
If there's another one, all right. Let's not will it into existence, shall we?
No, we don't. But I'm just saying, it's talking about those things. So I guess back to a tech loop is. So what phone do you use, Ben, as far as like a daily driver? How do you do with the reviews, and how does that all work for you? Okay, OnePlus. Okay, cool.
OnePlus 7 Pro. So I had a 7T. I did reviews on both of them as of recently, and I value a good display experience above anything else, because I guess for me, when it comes to the cameras, it matters, but it doesn't matter nowhere near as much as how I take my pictures is with my proper dedicated cameras as many times, but that's unique to me. So knowing how my unique use case is, the OnePlus cameras are okay enough for me. It doesn't mean that it's going to be okay enough for everyone, right? I'm not saying that, but for me, the all-screen display experience on the 7 Pro, it draws me in every single time, to the point where I still think it's probably overall, apart from not being a flat display, my favorite display. And on top of great amount of storage at 256, lots of power in there, OnePlus. And it's the OnePlus's software is not because of the smooth and fast, as everyone says, which is true. The software is just less intimidating. The reason why I say it's less intimidating is I got my wife an S20 Plus for her upgrade from her S9 Plus. And when I helped her set it up, oh my goodness, I was like, I've not used Samsung software, and it's like setting it up, I didn't realize how intimidating this software is. When I say intimidating, it doesn't mean it's not fast. It doesn't mean it's not feature rich. But my goodness, so many things pop up in your face. It's like,
it's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming. Yeah.
I was like, no. Can I just get to the home screen? No. When you get to the home screen, this is popping up. That's popping up. Sign into the. I'm like, no.
Hey Ben, what would you like? Would you like a sandwich later? You would? We'll set that up for you. It's like, what the hell? It's like it's nonstop. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, all these things keep prompting, and you gotta either dismiss them, but then you're like, okay, well, if I dismiss it, it won't come back later. Yeah. Or am I gonna miss that?
But that's not the worst. The worst bit is when you get to Samsung. So you go through all that beginning bit where you say you don't want to copy your apps, blah blah blah. Yeah. Get to the home screen, pops up at the top. Do you want to copy your apps? I'm like, I already said no to that.
No, like
that's not Samsung though. That's every phone. Right. Yeah, that pops up at the top going, "Do you want to copy your data?" And I already said no.
So
pre-screen.
It's definitely the 7 Pro for me. It's just the phone that just hits right for me. It really does hit right for me. And like I said, Realme have sent me the X50. I'm really interested in this because.
Yeah, same.
Everything that Realme is doing is really exciting to me. It's exciting to me not because it's revolutionary, but they understand the reverse of what I ranted. They understand that because, one, they don't have the market share. Two, they don't have the retail outreach. That just because they match spec for spec, that does not mean they're going to charge the price premium. Their X50 Pro, which is their premium 5G phone, it's like £500. It's half the price of what you would get a OnePlus 8 Pro on, but it's basically the same phone. But they understand that, hey, we could do, but it makes no sense. It makes no sense. We don't have any of their leverage for us to even justify that. We don't have the retail support. We don't have the bricks and mortar. We don't have the things that will say, hey, we cannot. So we will stay in our lane, but we'll offer and emulate that same experience. So for $299 for this phone, to have a Snapdragon 765G, 120 hertz LCD display, 4,200 milliamp hour battery, 30-watt charging as well, and a quad camera with 48 megapixels. I'm eager to try this because $299, like 128 gig storage, 60 gram, that hits home.
Right. For $300, you're in a really good spot because that's
Realme
a lot of bang for buck.
Crazy bang for performance. Like price to performance is ridiculous. I've always seen Realme on like the people watching them on videos and stuff, and I always thought I want to try. I've never tried using a Realme phone. I have no idea what they're like. Yes, spec for spec, it's good, but is performance the same? What the camera's like, battery life, screen? It's got a headphone jack. I mean, this is the first time I've used the headphone jack, so I don't know if it sounds good or you sound good to me. So, it's a headphone jack. It works. This is what we're missing on most phones these days. But for the price you get this phone for, it's got 12 gigabytes of RAM. 12.
Yep.
And it's when this phone was new, I think it was what, $499?
Yep.
Something around that price. And now you can say, like I say, you can pick it up for $350, 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
256 gigabytes of storage for fucking. But the best bit is I've been using it all afternoon on and off, just taking a couple of pictures here and there. And I tell you, it's not a bad phone. Like the cameras are really good. This is the front camera on there. Obviously, it's a bit different because we're streaming 720p and all through StreamYard, but the camera's pretty good. The front camera's good. The rear cameras are really good.
Yeah.
For what, like, people say that £350 phone from Realme, company I've never heard of. I bet that takes rubbish photos. Shared one on the Discord earlier. A lot of people were impressed.
Yeah.
So there's a question in the chat, Ben, about what phone are you most nostalgic about? And we're talking all the way back. Like, what phone is, when you hear about that phone, you go, oh yeah, it's like a really awesome time in school.
My phone would be, there's several, but if I'm just gonna base it off instinct, right? Sometimes, yes, N95, yes, is that the N95? Nokia N95.
No, I know Nokia N95 was a quality phone. I love that. This is something I found that the kids have had since they were born, and it's an old Vodafone phone.
Yeah,
I can't even remember what this is. It's 2-megapixel camera.
My one is not just any N95. It was the N95 Black Edition with 8 gigabytes of internal storage. Instinctively, I don't think many people remember it as much, but that phone, the Black Edition, I remember having it, and the special feeling that it gave me, like, yo, this is the Black Edition, 8 gigabytes of internal storage back then. It was like, whoa, like, yo, this is different, it had a 5-megapixel camera, flash, push up. It had a web browser in there, on O2 where they were really I was like, this is some those were the things that used to get me excited, so instinctively that phone comes to mind. I don't know why. It just really, when someone says nostalgic and I just scan, it's like that's the first phone that comes to mind. So I just tap into that. But there are other phones that were special to me, because I had great memories with them. Definitely, I would say the Sony Ericsson W810. So the Walkman series phone.
The Walkman phone.
Walkman series phone. Yeah. So like music, back then music was a big thing. Bluetooth and people, your tracks was a good thing. And Sony's music interface was just so much nicer to use. I don't know what it was. It was just so much nicer to use to organize your music, make it into your personal ringtone. Everything about Sony's music listening experience on the Walkman series really set it apart. And growing up where you're listening to a lot of music, man, and the branding of Walkman was so big then, it's like, those phones really nostalgically, like they sing to me.
Yeah. And I remember the Walkman, man. I love that phone.
And I have to ask, because it is me. Were you ever? I know it's hard because it's the UK, but were you ever exposed to many Windows phones? And how did that? What's your overall thinking?
We had Windows phones here, right?
I know I'm saying, but I don't know how prevalent they were. Some places, yes, some places no.
I love Windows Phone, and I'm really, really cheesed off at Microsoft that they did not commit well to keep it. It was such a potentially viable operating system to really match and emulate what Apple did with iOS. I made a video on iOS as the Goldilocks operating system. It's part of my Acapella Talking Head series and whatnot. And Microsoft were in a place where if they played their cards right and they committed and put the development, especially the back-end software development, especially for the SDKs, they could have made it happen. And Microsoft are now building this reputation of, yes, they sustain stuff, but they're building this reputation of they kill a lot of stuff not well. Their recent thing with Mixer is not a good look on them, right? The recent stuff with Windows Phone, not a good look. The recent stuff with taking on the whole toboggle of Nokia, and now HMD are doing a better job than Microsoft did with the Nokia brand, not a good look. So there's this inkling reputation that they're building of like, as great as Microsoft are, when they're buying to you, are they really gonna commit well, or are they gonna kill you off? And which is a sad that's a sad stigma to have around a brand that won't ever really die because of their business model for software and enterprise, and server-based cloud computing, which is so much more powerful beyond just the hardware. But because of all of those things, you kind of do expect them that things like software and platform, they should be succeeding. And Windows Phone dying, especially with the Metro UI, I loved the Metro UI.
Oh yeah, me too.
I loved the Metro UI. I loved it not because it was the best, but I loved it because it was different. It was different, and you need differentiation. Differentiation is the same as a language, right? The language is what differentiates. And then once you buy in and understand the culture of the language and the platform, what it's trying to do, it's easier to kind of like enjoy the benefits of what that platform or ecosystem brings. Microsoft had it. And if they stuck to it, they did it well. It's I get really, I might even have to do a video on that, because I get really fired up on that. Windows Phone dying,
it drives me crazy.
It's one of the most annoying things I've seen in mobile from a brand that had no reason not to commit to make it work. Honestly, that's my opinion.
They had the money. I mean, like I said, Ron makes a point. Like, it's the perfect halfway between Android customization and an ecosystem. Because you could, I tell people, you could just pin anything to a start menu. You can make it your own, and it worked. Like I said, I always say to people every day, I said, if I could only get 60% of the apps on Windows Phone right now, today, at this moment, I would rock a Windows Phone, and I would never touch an Android or an iOS device. I love them, and I miss it, and it's just such a shame.
But you think about it, it was a long time ago, so the software was good then. Imagine what it had developed into now if it was still around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It would have just been like, it wouldn't. You can't even speak. You start overthinking. You think, this is what it could have been.
I might have to do an a cappella series talking head video and just rant a little bit about it. The reason why I say that is that
we'll go watch that.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably just the best video ideas come in these discussions. The reason why I agree with Juan is that where it's a halfway perfect house is that it was not just an in-house software, but also it was software being licensed to other OEMs. Samsung were making phones for Windows Phone. And I'm not saying I sold these phones to customers. Customers were at my mercy, and I recommended these phones to them, and they were happy with these phones because I educated them, not just based on, I have a sales target KPI to hit, let me make money. But I educated them on why this is good for you price-wise, why the OEM is a strong OEM, and why this software speaks to you. And I would walk them through the process, and they would never come back like, I'm having a bad experience. They're like, damn, thank you for taking me through that. This is new to me, but I like it. It's not everything I'm used to. And back then, the platforms were immature. I'm talking about 2011, 2012. The platforms were still immature. So that was your chance to still grab people that weren't ecosystem bound, right? The Apple Watch wasn't out. Yes, the iPad was there, but you didn't have the system integration with things like handoff and continuity. All those things weren't there to really suck people in, where you can pick up your phone call from your laptop while that integration wasn't there. So that was your chance to really switch people a lot more. That now it's so much more difficult.
It's impossible.
It's so much. It can be done. But the difficulty of people switching now is so much tougher because, the integration that other people have is crazy, and that's what hurts me more, that you gave up at a time that you had no reason to give up, and you gave up, and now you're looking at yourself. You're trying to get back into mobile, but you're piggybacking off Android when you could have been your own Don. You could have been your own guy.
And you had the money. It's not like
you imagine the integration now. Could you imagine the integration between Windows PCs and Windows Phone? Like how we see Apple now and Huawei how the integration, you just put it near the laptop, on the laptop, it switches automatically. Windows could have had that years ago with Windows Phone, because the phone was built literally alongside Windows. So every upgrade of Windows could work with PCs, laptops, and not just Microsoft Duos and Surfaces. It could have worked with Huawei laptops, all of them. Anything that ran Windows, your phone could have just integrated with everything perfectly.
And see, this is part of the reason why I wanted to have Ben on too, is because I mean, we don't have exactly, we're not the Joe Rogan experience here, but we have people who are driving.
Who else would mention, like, imagine now if in a Windows TV instead of an Android TV.
Right.
Exactly.
And just hook it into your computer and just seamlessly.
Yeah, but that's just it though. That could have been another competition for the market. Like, you could have had Android TV, Apple TV, Microsoft TV, which integrates with your phones and your Windows. I'm going to create dreams by saying these things, so I apologize, because we're never going to get it.
It's just funny because I think, I think it's funny because Ben's really the one that has resonated to that. Like, I always ask that of every guest. It's like, I was a big Windows Phone fan, still am. And it's
all about the integration. You just don't get it. As much as they'll say you can do this and this and this, it's so buggy, laggy. It doesn't work properly. It cuts off. You just think, God, why does they even make this stuff when it doesn't work?
Yep, for real.
So now, for sure, now we got to have Ben on. I was going to have Ben on again and offer that for any time you'd like to come back on. But also now, because we want to have that discussion and loop back around. But it's we're about that about an hour and 11-minute mark. So Ben, I want to tell you that it's been an honor to have you on the show. I'm glad you were able to take time.
Honestly.
First in the UK to be on, I appreciate that.
So you get you're gonna get we can get a special prize to you as being the first UK creator. So we usually try to have people on, but I just, like I said, I really enjoy your channel. I'm glad I was driven to your content, and I'm definitely a fan and continue to look forward to following that. And speaking of that, how do people get a hold of you? How do they find you? Other than YouTube, do you have other platforms? And I want to make sure we get those in the notes so that we can get all that. I can drive as much traffic to you as possible, because I think people really now understanding what you bring to the table. I think people would really be awesomely served by listening to you and following you.
So I'm going to adjust the mic so I say it, because this is my favorite part. So as always, man, www.youtube.com/lover of tech. That's all one word. www.youtube.com/lover of tech. That is TECH. That's my main platform, but I'm very, very active on Twitter, man. So you know how it is. Hit me up on Twitter, Lover of Tech BA. That's the initials BA, Benjamin Abuaji. That's my name, Lover of Tech BA. I'm definitely there. Hit me up on Instagram as well, Lover of Tech _BA. Hit me up on there. I'm very active within the stories. You'll see me posting and promoting all my videos there that you'll be seeing as well, man. So come be part of Team TLS. I know Team TLS is known as the Tech Lover Squad. So come subscribe, hit that notification bell, man. You'll get videos on a regular basis. So that's where you guys will find me.
Cool. I am glad. That was awesome, man. It's like planned out. Usually it's just like, I got stuff and I'm here and you can want to find me. It's cool. But it was man, that worked out perfectly. So I'm glad. Like I said, we'll make sure we get the show notes up. I'll make sure we add all that stuff. And also, I wanted to let everybody know we finally actually have show music. My buddy put, and on the last, I actually was able to figure out how to actually use Audacity. I know, right? How to put stuff on there. So we had music. So if anybody has a chance, I'm going to be on the next one. If they want to listen to the show music and tell me what they think, if it's pretty good, and that's my buddy Matt Mathias. He does. He makes beats. He used to be a St. Louis hip hop guy, and it was awesome having you on the show. And Ben, you're absolutely more than welcome to come on any other time. I love the conversation. Yeah, we're always here to support your channel, and anything we can do to drive some traffic to you and get you in a place where people can hear you. We would love to support that.
100%.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that as well. You can mention that he will be live on his own show.
Perfect.
In around about half an hour's time.
Yes. So just to hey guys, support the Across the Pondcast with Sam and Matt. They're starting up. These guys are doing great things, and trust me, the beginning's the hardest. So you just grow with them, support them. This is great, and I appreciate you guys for reaching out for me to come, and it's a pleasure for me as well. But yes, I have got my own live streams that I do every Sunday. It's known as the Tech and Chill Show Unplugged. So usually I do it around 10 p.m. and beyond. I used to do it 8 p.m. BST or GMT +1 UK time, but I kind of had to push it further back because I was missing a lot of my American audience. So I said, 10 p.m. and beyond is kind of a happy medium. The real ones in the UK are going to be still up awake late that can watch it. But, my guys over in US are going to be able to catch it as well. So I will take a little minute 30 break, get a snack, reset up, and we're going to be doing this week's Tech and Chill show. Usually 3 topics of tech within the week, and we just vibe with it about an hour. We just make it happen, man. We have fun with it as well. So yeah, guys, that's another platform. I would love for you guys to also come over and feel free to share your opinions on the Tech and Chill show. So yeah, man, you guys are invited as well.
Perfect. That'd be awesome. We would love to. We'd love to do that as well.
The after party at Ben's.
Right.
After the party, it's the after party. Yes.
That's where it's all happening. We got to have people on who are actually way cooler than we are, because that's what you have to do. You have to have people on like Ben who have a good vibe, and then we would definitely want to. So anybody who's after this, you want to swing on over across the street, check out Ben's show. Please do so, and we would love to be there as well. We're always in for that, and we really appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. That's it. That's another show. Matt, anything else? Are you excited now that you got?
No, I'm just so happy that I had someone with me from the UK.
Me too.
It's difficult with the timing because it's late here.
The black tees.
It's because it's late here, so it's hard. Like because people spend family work in the morning and stuff like that, so it's hard to get UK creators on the show. But I'm so glad that we've got somebody on, and I'm glad it was you. To be honest.
Thanks, man. Honestly, really,
definitely.
Really appreciate
Good deal.
It,
so for us, for me, for Matt, for Ben, lover of tech, that's another show. We'll be back next Sunday, and I think we have Adam Dowd on the show next Sunday. It's going to be an awesome show. Same time, 3:00 Central Standard Time here in the United States, and that's it. And for myself, stay safe, wear a mask, be good to each other, try to have a good time, enjoy your tech, and we will catch you guys next week. And please be safe, and we love you guys. Thanks for stopping by, and you guys have a great rest of your week.
Bye, guys.